The same shoreline transitions that concentrate fish at first ice often load up with fish at last ice on these dish bowl prairie lakes. We now travel to northeastern South Dakota, just west of Watertown, just as a massive front pushes in with 30+ mile-per-hour winds.
There we go. There. Nice walleye. Boy, snow geese are migrating overhead, and some of the last days of ice fishing season, but we're in northeastern South Dakota, and what I love about this area is you get in some of these key locations, late ice, which typically is going to be March and April, and mixed bag, beautiful walleyes, some of the biggest jumbo perch that you're going to see is just a mixed bag, and a lot of times if you're fishing for one, you're fishing for the other, and that's just what I love about this area. You know, as strong as this wind is today, I can't even imagine how brutal it'd be to fish outside today. And, you know, the key to this, fishing inside a house, picking an area, picking key locations where if you have to sit, you need the fish to move underneath you in order to contact fish. And so to fine tune this location even further, we talked about this hard bottom versus the soft bottom. We're talking about these basin fish pushing up into these shallower shorelines, but more specifically, it's that transition. Spend the time to find that transition. The basin of this lake is only about 12 feet of water. We're in 9 or 10 feet. That's how subtle this structure is. But a lot of times when people come from lakes with a lot of structure, they get lost in these type of prairie dish bowl lakes because there isn't a lot of structure. And so the structure is very subtle. And keep that in mind when you're looking for locations. If you get a rise or a bump in depth that is even a foot or 2, 3 feet at the most, it goes from soft bottom to hard bottom, that's all that it takes.
With aggressive fish in water with good visibility, a presentation that can be seen pulls in more fish below you. High lifts with a flutter spoon can be seen from great distances. Lifting the spoon high up off the bottom and letting it wobble down can be seen from further away. When you're not marking fish, fish the spoon high to bring fish in. When you're camped over a spot, the more fish you can bring in below you, the more fish you are going to catch. For maximum flash, just tip the spoon with a small minnow head so that the action is not impeded. When you are running traffic, play the odds by getting as many fish underneath you over the course of the day as possible.
Oh, there's a dandy. There's a dandy. I just saw this mark. You know, we're only in 11 feet of water, and I saw this mark come in about 5 feet up off the bottom. Who knows why that fish was that high, but just rolls up to it and jigged it, and that fish was aggressive. That fish just came in and just smoked it, but fun. And here, I'll show you the bait that we're using. There's just a live forage flutter spoon. I tell you what, clear water and shallow water, that is just such a productive lure category for walleyes and perch in shallow water. But yeah, just a dandy. Oh, that fish just smoked it. That was fun. We'll get this fish in the water. All right. Fun. Now in particular, this spoon here that I'm using, it's called a Moxie minnow. I'm just putting a minnow head on there. But just a perch pattern. This is my favorite one, but there's a couple different color options, but it's just got a perch pattern with a gold back, tipping it with a minnow head. And the key to these flutter spoons is that they put off a lot of flash. They've got a really slow, horizontal, seductive wobble. And what I've been doing is I've been just lifting it up and letting it fall, lifting it up and letting it fall, and it flutters like a disco ball down there. It really is good in clear water for pulling fish in. But high lifts bring those fish in. A lot of times once the fish come in, then you can just quiver it and bounce it in place to seal the deal. But in this clear water, and it's typical that a lot of these lakes in northeastern South Dakota, they really green up and get stained up in the summer. But once the water freezes over, the water will really clear up, and it's not uncommon to see down 10 feet of water. And on a lot of these lakes, with that clear water, it becomes really a pronounced morning and evening bite. And so you get these clear, shallow prairie lakes, you just can't beat a flutter spoon. It's just one option to try when you're out here. There we go. That fish hit it with attitude. Yeah, another nice here. Whoa! can't even see that flutter spoon. I love it when they pose like that. Let's see if I can even open up that fish's mouth. There we go. Yeah, fun fish. There, I got him finally. There. There we go. There's a jumbo. Boy, that's the mixed bag I was describing at the open of the show. That is why I just love this area. And basically what we're doing is we're just keying on these transitions. If you can imagine, you look out over the basins of these lakes, and these fish have been roaming these basins all winter, but come late ice, these fish will slide up, and typically they'll slide up on what's an old shoreline, and usually the basin is going to be really soft bottom, and then as you slide up onto that old shoreline, it's going to turn into sand or just a harder, firmer bottom, and late ice, that hard bottom is often the ticket, and a lot of times it correlates with that shoreline contour.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
You know, the mystique of this area in northeastern South Dakota that we're fishing, referred to as the Glacial Lakes region, is that there's so many bodies of water, and there's so many new bodies of water. With that being said, a lot of these lakes aren't mapped out really well if you're used to using GPS mapping with really accurate contour maps. In a lot of these lakes, actually you can see in some cases the old lake bed, which in many cases might be 10 to 15 feet, 20 feet shallower. And a lot of times you'll see that old lake bed on your GPS and it'll look like you're fishing on land. And often when we're exploring these lakes, the edge of that old lake bed, the shoreline of that old lake bed is a good starting point to look. It's going to be a natural edge where that soft bottom a lot of times get to be a firmer bottom. Another valuable asset as far as trying to fine tune your locations and figure these lakes out is just to use aerial maps, either Google Maps or there's some websites out there like terraserver.com where you can pull up aerial photography of these lake beds for when the lake was dry, and then find areas, for example, there might be a point coming out, find areas where there might be some rocks piled up from when they used to farm some of these places. And so there's a lot of different resources out there online that you can use to help fish these bodies of water. There we go. Boy, this fish is fighting. There we go. There we go. There. Boy, I just love how these fish fight. Nice walleye. Boy, they just growl. Don't they have that attitude? They just come in and they just smoke these flutter spoons. And high lift to bring the fish in, just a hard bounce to get that flutter spoon to flash, and these predators just come in and eat. I'll show you a little tip here what I do too when I'm fishing the shallow water. A couple adjustments you can make on the new Vexilar FL28 that can make the shallow water fishing even more effective. You know, one thing to remember when you're fishing shallow water is that often you're going to be able to see more by using the low power feature. Another thing that I like to do is that new FL28's has several colors palettes that you can choose from, where you can cycle through and pick a couple different color options. Now this is a traditional red, yellow, and green color palette that you're probably familiar with on Vexilar products. What I like to do is cycle through the color palette and eliminate that green signal, so it's just red, yellow, and orange. And in shallow water, you just get rid of some of the clutter and you just get a sharper resolution, a sharper picture of what you're seeing down there. Because a lot of times these lures are going to put off a pretty good signal in shallow water, so I want to eliminate that signal as much as I can so I can barely see the lure, see the bottom, I can see that separation between the lure and the bottom. There. Boy, these fish are just spunky. You know, if you're just out here trying to eat fish, That's about my favorite size, right here. Just a beautiful eater. Today's your lucky day.
Jason Mitchell Outdoors will be right back.
From our base camp in Devils Lake, North Dakota, we travel the whole Midwest looking for the best fishing bites. If you like real-time fish reports, find out what bodies of water that we're fishing, just to find the general patterns and techniques that we're using, give us a like on Facebook and hit the road with Jason Mitchell Outdoors. There. Oh, I love that. Good fish. Good fish. Boy, isn't that a beautiful sound? There we go. Another nice eater. You know, these fish are just rolling through here in packs. See outside, it is so windy outside. It's probably blowing 30 miles an hour. All of that. And just kind of one of them days where it's just nice to hunker down and wait for these fish to move through. Nice thing is they've been biting all day. There we go. That fish hit like it was supposed to. These fish are just fairly aggressive, which is typical for this late ice period. Yeah, just another dandy eater. There. Oh, just a perfect eater. I used to see these different year classes in these lakes. I mean, it's hard to imagine even how many walleyes have to be swimming in some of these lakes, because I mean, the fish just keep coming by. I mean, these schools must be just enormous for me to be able to just sit in one spot like this and just keep seeing waves of fish come through.
These transitions are often high percentage locations throughout the season, but become especially important at first and last ice, especially when mobility is difficult because of conditions. The advantage anglers have when targeting many of this new water in the Dakotas is that these locations were once dry, so while some map chips are not yet accurate for some of this new water, what is accurate are aerial photography that was taken of these lake beds during drier conditions. With a little homework and the right strategy, you can put this information to use for you this winter. Jason Mitchell Outdoors is brought to you by Shields, North Dakota Tourism, Clam, Vexilar, Jason Mitchell Elite Series Rods, Ice Armor, Northland Tackle, Cooper Chevrolet, Bionic Line, and Salmo.
To find out more information on Jason Mitchell Outdoors, make their official webpage one of your favorite pages. Find out upcoming show schedules and air times, along with past shows, article and product reviews at jasonmitchelloutdoors.com. Great information on the outdoors is just one click away.